Okay, so this video is about tube or tire tube. I believe most car users watching this video may not even know what I'm talking about. I'm talking of tube. The only tube they probably might know is the tube for bicycle, bikes, and the rest. I'm talking about for vehicles, especially the newer drivers. Those of us that started driving in the late 80s or thereabouts will tell you who have a lot of experience when it comes to tube in tires, because at that time, especially in this part of the world, Nigeria, nobody was using tubeless tires. No, nobody. Almost everyone I knew at that time was using tube in tires. Of course, it's probably might be. I can't remember if at that time they started producing tubeless tires, because I knew then the tires they were producing, at least that was common on vehicles, Peugeot cars specifically, 504, 505, 404. We are all tube tires. When you look at, you see it there written tube tire. Or was it written tube tire? Well, I think it was much later, like in the late 90s or so, that I started seeing on the tires, some tires at that time written tubeless. So, but originally, or at that, in the, let me put it, in the time of 504, I think what was common there was tube tires. So I can't say for sure about the 505, but I think it was around that 505 that at least it became common in Nigeria, tubeless tires. So that time, like I said, everybody was using tube tires, and they were serving. I can't say for sure. No, okay, no, yeah, I can say tubeless is better. Tubeless tires are better than the tube tires. In as much as tube has you could maybe an advantage, but not necessarily a significant advantage over tubeless tire. I don't want to go into that, but generally the tubeless is much better. There is no need to even debate on that. I will never accept that tube is better based on my own personal experience and the other people around me at that time. Uh, Tubeless remained the best. So I could remember then in the days of 504, 505, talking about um, 80s, 90s, when I actually started driving. Late 80s, I would say. Or you could say on the public road was in the early 90s. I started driving on public road, early 90s. So at that time, um, the 504 and 505 were better. Okay, I won't say better road handler, but they were handling better. Their road handling were better than what we have today. See, at that time, Peugeot 504 and 505 were specifically produced or designed to run better with specific Michelin tires. Michelin tires. At that time, they were produced with specific Michelin tire models. That if you want these two cars to be able to drive what I mean handle, I mean not just stability. There are so many things involved, but handles better on the road. You need to use those Michelin tires. So those Michelin tires, like I say, especially the 504, I don't think they were too blessed. So the 505 maybe. So but now the current 504 users or 505 who didn't drive it back then, or who didn't have the opportunity to drive it with those tires they were produced with, or recommended for, you will understand the way they were handling and that at that time compared to what you now have, because those tires are no longer in the market at all. You can't find them anymore. So there are specific Michelin tires. I don't know their modern name offered. Some people do know, but I know, man, they were much better than to drive. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is, from my own experience, the spare tires uh, tend to leak air over time, just like every other tire, but you experience it more with the spare tires. One thing about spare tires, is there probably under the boot or inside the boot, and it's something you hardly ever need to touch. Weeks, even months. Like I said, why go there when there's no need for it? I'll give you an example. Ever since I moved to Abuja, uh, 2008 till today, irrespective of how many cars I've driven or I've owned here in Abuja, it was only once that I ever had a need for spare tire. Only once I was actually traveling. It was even at night, funny enough. I was in a high speed on highway at night, and I hit a big pothole. It bent the rim of the car a little bit. Didn't damage it actually, but it just bent it a little, so the tire leaked out. And that was even when I remember anything called spare tire. So I put it out. Luckily, it has deflected actually, but it still has some pressure a little. Some air was still inside the tire. So I swap it in and got to my destination. Probably an hour later or 2 hours later, I can't remember. I was almost closer to my destination when this happened, but it was still on the highway at night. I think around 10 p.m. So, um, that's why, like I said, it was the only time I ever had a need. Ever since then, even when living in the city, I've never had a need to have deal with changing of tire to spare. No, never had that need. So spare tire is something that you could have, and 5 years you probably will even need or even remember that that thing is there. Or even if you do remember, it will probably will never have a need to, because maybe you may wake up in the morning, notice that one of your tires have defect, started to reduce air a little, started going down. All you need is drive to a vulcanizer. He will inflate the tire for you. Or if you have that device where you can inflate the tire by yourself, you do it at home. Or if truly maybe the tire really got about to go down, you drive to the vulcanizer place, and you remove the tire, fix it, and put it back for you. So there are many. My point is, most I realize that even your spare tire will just stay there without any need to ever touch it. So there's something, I don't know if I have not confirmed, but it appears it's true that according to maybe the road regulation in Nigeria, that your spare tire must be new, brand new, just like the one on the vehicle. Talking on the one on the wheels. So in other words, if I think they say 5 years, that your tires should not exceed 5 years, or probably less. I think 5 years in Nigeria. So that same thing applies to your spare tire. So if you are changing your 4 tires on the wheels, then or the rims under the car, under the disc, the hub, whatever. Basically your wheels, if you are changing those 4 tires, buying brand new, you must also replace your spare tire, which, like I say, you high probability that you will never use that tire. You will never ever have a need to touch that tire. So now you have to throw it away after the 5 years. So you have to go and look for another 5 tires to buy. Because the law says you must not exceed 5 years. I don't understand some laws people make. Honestly, I don't know how to put this. Who made that law? Who have that kind? That's what I was saying. If you are going to put someone into something, to put someone that is an expert in that field. Who came up with this regulation? Who was the person even thinking? This is spare tire is what is it? It's just emergency. That's what it means. Period. Even though we call it spare tire, it's emergency. Oh, just for temporary, use it. Get a better destination where you can now fix your tire. If you had a flat tire on a journey, on a road or something, you just put it there. Maybe in the next 5 kilometers or less, you see a vulcanized about it. So you park the car, fix it, replace the tire if you have to, and then continue your journey. Because spare tire is not meant for you to, if it spoils here, as you're about to take off the journey, you put the spare one. If your main tire fails, you put your spare one and use it for the next 3 hours or 4 hour journey without any additional tire to serve as spare in case of emergency as you're in the journey. Spare tire, like I said, is just for you to get to a place where you can now fix the main tire and remove the spare tire and pull. So it's not meant to be permanent something. It's just temporary. It's called emergency. I'm not saying it should be a bad tire that's already died. No, I'm saying it shouldn't have to be new. Otherwise, it become a big waste of resources. Something that is, like I say, high probability is not going to be used. You just go and buy it, and at the end of 5 years, you throw it away. You go and buy it again. And the funny thing is, look at the current situation of economy in Nigeria. And you see, zero safety and VIO enforcing it. Even they themselves, can they actually say that they can feed themselves? Who is still talking about 2 times meal daily? So you cover average new tire now is that's the lowest quality in the market. Is almost average 40,000, probably higher than that. I don't even know. Especially if you are looking at 15 rim, 16 rim. The lowest probably you'll find in the market is about 40,000, because that's what you have to go for you to be able to have a tire that is less than 5 years. Unlike back then in the 80s, 90s, who was buying new tire? Basically, everybody was buying used tire, which you know that's okay, or Tokumbo tire. But I know, yeah, I could say few could afford new at that time. But I'm saying on average, everybody was buying used tires and nobody was saying anything about it. But suddenly now, that things are even tougher. Now you want to enforce it. And okay, let's leave the main tires. But you even want to enforce the spare tire that you just, to me, I don't know. Why punish your people to that extent? Because it makes no sense. I'm not saying you should have a spare tire that the trade has worn out, the tire has bent, and so many things. Even if it has exceeded 5 years, tire, I mean, come on, tire could go beyond 5 years and still run for years with no issue. It depends on the quality of the tire. But I'm not proposing that people should be using tire that have exceeded 5 years, since it's the law. But I'm saying, especially for spare, do you really need to enforce it there? when you know that, like I said, it might not even be used. Even if it be used, is it not just temporarily? Even if the tire is not so good, just to get you from there to there, then you buy another tire and fix. But I don't really understand sometimes. Anyway, the point I'm doing this is the spare tire tends to leak, especially with tubeless. Even the main tire itself, once you park a car and they sit on ground for a while, the pressure will drop. If what you had on them was 50 psi before you left the car, by the time 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a few months, by the time you come back, probably you'll be, if you can still get it at 20 psi, then you are lucky. It's hard for them to stay that pressure for weeks or months. So because spare tire, is always where you hardly see it every time you are driving or using your car. The position, even if it's inside the boot, is usually under where it's covered, so you don't even get to it, or it's all directly under the boot, as in not even inside. The one that you have to go down under to be able to remove it. So in that case, who goes there all the time? So my point is, the only time itself people were able to change their spare tire like the days of 504. Some people didn't like the idea of putting tires under, because 504, 505 tires were actually under the that's not inside the boot, under the boot. So if you put it inside, of course, every time you open your boot, just like it will be occupying spaces. It makes it very messy, you know. So, but you can always easily touch the tire to know when it has lost pressure. But when it's that under, nobody remembers it, except when the need comes up, which probably may take months or years to even happen. So they tend to leak. By the time, even there was a time I wanted to travel. I was like, oh, my spare tire, okay, before I travel, I'll check it. I forgot. Until that very morning when I was about to leave, around 6 p.m., 6 a.m., I'm sorry, I forgot. No, I meant to say 6 a.m. or like 5:30 a.m. So as I was putting stuff in my boot, and I remembered, wow, I didn't even check this spare tire. So I now had to remove things I put back inside the boot, pull it out and check. Wow, the tire was flat. What do? I have nothing. I've already prepared for the journey. So I just started putting those things back. So instead of me to have left around 6 a.m. mass, I had to wait until 8:30, 9 a.m. because I had to wait for those organizers to come out. And I drove to that place. I started removing my stuff again and waited for another 1 hour, because this time it wasn't about putting pressure. They had to remove the tire, start checking to know what was wrong, and they said that because it's tubeless, so the tire has leaked by the surroundings. It leaked out from there, so they now had to remove it. Over here they use things like gari, apply it there so that it will help to seal off that edge. The side, I'm talking about the sidewall, the edge of the sidewall where the tire meets with the rim. If I could start my point is, yeah, you can forget about it until the need comes up. So I'm not even talking about the trying not to be a victim to the law of the country that your tire must be new, spare tire. No, that is not even one, because they also check if their tire has lost pressure or still house pressure. They also check that one. But the point is, because no matter what you do, you always will forget. So I'll give you a solution that came up. So my 505 spare tire was also doing the same thing every now and then. So what now happened was there was a time I was at a mechanic workshop. I drove the car to that place. So as they were working, I was like, something just happened, and I needed to look under the car, and I touched the rim, the tire. I saw that it was flat as it used to be every once in a while. Sometimes it will stay much longer if I touch it to see have air. Sometimes after like 3, 4 months, 5 months or so, I realized that, oh, that is flat. So I removed it and gave the vulcanizer there to deal with it. So as he was doing that, I started thinking, come on, what am I even doing? I just asked the guy to wait, give me some minutes. I gave it a thought. I was like, okay, see, can we get a spare tube, brand new tube? He said, of course, yes. Because I was even surprised that you will still be in the market, because everybody now uses tubeless tires. So I was like, can we get two? He said, yes. I gave him money, went to market and bought brand new tube and put it. This was like 2 years ago, or early last year, but I think it was 2 years ago. He put tube there, inflated it, I put it back on the car. Late last week, I went straight and touched it, still almost as I left it that 2 years ago. No, as if no air has even lost on the tire. It's hard and the way I left it there. But if it was that tubeless, I doubt. Come on, it couldn't have lasted. Give it weeks, months, maximum 6 months if we will get there. So that's where I'm coming from. Likewise, like this one now, this is my 407 coupe. So same thing, issue. I actually I was driving, and I was stopped by, I think it was a VIO staff. You look at my 4 tires, they were brand new. I changed it. Was it not last year? Was it not last year or 2 years ago I put those tires? But I know they are 2022 productions. So either early last year or 2 years ago. So he checked those ones, okay. So it was like, let's see your spare tire. So as I was about to switch off the car to go to the booth, he was like, you know what, I should just go. So as I was going, I was like, in my mind, I hope this tire is actually inflated. So I got to my destination and checked. Yeah, it was flat. I was like, you could imagine. This was a tire I knew. This spare tire, I'm talking about this spare tire that I inflected sometime late, I think last year, either late last year or so, but I know it wasn't this year. So we are talking about 4 months. So after like 4 months or 5 months max, it has gone flat again. So of course I had to, now you knew what it could be. Waste the whole time, do for a vulcanizer, remove it again, check, start putting garri, do all those things. So after that, even though they did it, as I wasn't comfortable, I was like, I had to start looking for tube. The time was like, no, why bother now? I'll just be doing this every once in a while. That's what everybody do. I said, no, I'm tired. So I was able to find, unfortunately, it's 18 rim. This is for the 4, because this 407 coupe. It's 18 rim. So all the people I've asked, everybody, they said it will be hard for me to get that 18 rim tube. The only one highest I could get is 16 rim. So this one you are seeing on the picture is 16 rim tube. So they said, but it will work. I don't know how it will. I said, fine. Whatever it is, like I said, it might not fit in properly. Who cares? As long as you can inflate the tire. Like I said, this is spare tire that is just temporary. You could just use it for the next 5 kilometers to see with vulcanizer and fix. This is spare tire. I don't need it to sit perfectly like well, as long as it will close lap very well without giving the tire any problem. Anyway, they say for what they said that it will work. All you need is give a good vulcanizer, you'll be able to fit it in. So I purchased it and I kept it. I've not, I just, this like few days ago. So I've not checked even the spare, the one he did, and put the Gary and so on the surrounding and inflated it. Who knows if it has not gone flat again. So, but my point is, if next time I check it and it has gone flat, like I've purchased this tube already, straight to swap the tube in. Because even as he was doing that, as he was trying to fix the spare tire, I made calls. I made an attempt to see if I can get the tube, but they were all saying 16 rim tube. So I wasn't comfortable with that. So I was like, okay, let him fix it since I couldn't get the 18. It was like 2 days later that I was like, you know what? Let me just buy the 16. It's better than nothing. Since they say it can fit in. Maybe it may not fit in. Maybe it will. I don't know until I try it. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is especially for those who have 14, 15, 16 rim. If you have a spare tire, see, it may be better for you to go put a tube. No matter how good the tire is. If you have, just buy a tube and get a new one. If there's better quality, because I remember that time we were using tube in the 504 and the 505. Some are low quality, they are even dangerous. If you put them and the tire becomes hot, they tend to cut. How do I even cut? Is it explode inside the tire? I don't even know how to put it. So some can handle that pressure better, the heat and the gallops and all that. So that's what I would say. If I don't know the quality. For me, I was like, it was by mouth. I asked, is it good quality? They said yes. Unfortunately, it was even the only 16 they have. They have others. What I'm saying is not only one piece, but it's only the brand. Is it Day Long? I think it was Day Long. I can't remember the brand on the package. But hey, look at the one I put in my 505 2 years ago. It's still there. So that might be a solution for you. Number one, so that you won't enter the problem of the VIO people or road safety people. That's the rules, the Nigerian law. You won't fall victim to that. I will be penalized that your tire is flat, irrespective of the age. Now, I'm not even talking about how old the tire is. I'm talking about if once it's no longer inflated, you'll be penalized. So it doesn't mean tube will not also go flat. That's not what I'm saying. But it tends to stay much longer. Because worst case scenario for tube, you see that if it leaks, it will be most likely from the valve, which takes so long. As long as the valve has not failed, it takes so long for it to leak, if at all. But with tubeless, after a while, you see that age where you sit on the rim, you just start sipping air to it. Like I say, it's not only spare tire that it is affect. Even the main tire on the car that you drive the car on, they also leak. Park the car. I'm giving you a practical example. Park your vehicle. Don't use it for 1 month. Go and check your tire pressure. Tell me if they will still be the same up to 40, 35, wherever you left them before. They will go down. So likewise, that one in the boot or wherever it is, your spare tire, and you not use it for the weeks, months, even more than a year. You still expect it to also remain same, and especially it's tubeless. Only for you to now, maybe in your journey, something now happens, and you didn't remember to check. Maybe one of your tires get flat. You didn't remember to check your spare tire before you leave for the journey. Only for you to check and realize that it's completely flat. So it's not just about the law. It's about also you helping yourself. So And also might be saying, you're supposed to form a habit of checking. That's what you will say until you realize how it's already late. Trust me. It's things that, because you're not seeing it. Remember, out of sight, out of mind. It's not something you are seeing. So you are open your boot all the time. You open this thing, your mind will be other places. You put the engine in good condition, put the other tires on the car in good condition, every other thing. And you are doing that, it might even cross your mind. You'll be like, okay, later I'll go and check. You forget it again. Like I say, it's not something you look at. So spare tire, no, tube is, so that's what I think I will start doing now in all my car. Once I have the opportunity, anyone that goes flat again, I'll just get a tube and put, because if you put a tube, worst case scenario, what you will now be doing, you just be inflating the tire. Maybe after every 6 months or so, if you go down a little, you don't need to remove the tire from there. The vulcanizer can just go put this thing, inflate it, and that's all, wherever it is. Maybe inside your boot, under your car. You'll be surprised. So it stays again there for another month or a year or so before the need for you to inflate the tire again. Rather than the tubeless that most times once it goes flat, it's not even about inflating it. You have to remove pull out the tire. Sometimes remove the tire and start to rub those things they rub on the edges, cigarette, oil, this or that, before they can now pump it again. In that case, you are likely going to spend hours, not 1 hour, not 2. So especially the fatter the tire, the more difficult for them to remove those things and then do it. So it's just an advice. I'm not telling you must use to, but I'm telling you that we used it before in the past and it served us. The 504 and the 505, and other vehicles that were not Peugeot at that time in the 80s. Those of us who started driving, those ones who started driving before 80s, like in the 70s, also understand what I mean. So the newer ones now that started driving yesterday understand that tubeless wasn't the norm. Now it wasn't. It's not even about the norm. It wasn't like it's like a new thing. Before everybody was using tube. So it's not something you could say, it's awkward. How can it serve? It will serve you, trust me. So I just to put it out there, do what is best for your car or for you, So I've chosen, unless tomorrow the Nigerian law come up and says tube is bad. You are not allowed to put tube in your rim. Then that's a very big thing. But right now, so as spare tire is concerned, that's where I'm looking towards now. I put one already. I purchased one for another one. The remaining 2 or so are probably once I check, and unless I check at that time, it's still okay, fine. But whenever I have opportunity, I'll buy 2 and keep. Like this one, that's what I've done. I purchased it and kept it in the booth. Whenever opportunity comes and I need it goes flat, I'll swap it in. That's all. Or mount it. Doesn't affect the tire. It's not as if you put it degrades the tire. No, it stays the same. The only time you might say is if you put it and be using it like your regular tires with your tube. Now you might say, okay, it's not the best idea over time, because tubeless was supposed to serve you much better, especially on higher speed or whatever. But this one, like I say, is emergency, which you probably may never need. You might use a car for 10 years and later sell the car without using the spare tire at all. Without ever having need to use the spare tire for 10 years or more, you've owned that car. So that's why it pisses me off when the Nigerian government, I don't know for sure if that is true, but people have been saying that. So it's probably is true. The Nigerian government is saying your spare tire must be the same year or as new as your main tires on the car. That's ridiculous. Whoever is there are some laws you could do. As the situation is changing in your country, you relax the execution or the implementation. You relax it. because you are not dealing with robots. The economy is in a mess. You, the politician, put it in a mess. And you could say, well, VIO or road safety are not the people that put it in that mess. But you're supposed to use your number 6 to know that people are basically struggling to feed. There are so many things now, so many insecurity in the country, kidnapping here and there, robbery here and there. So it's even much better, no matter how expensive it is, to you use your car rather than using public transport. Public transport now is I mean, it's very unsafe. Let me just put it that way. Can't even compare in terms of using your own personal private car. So private car gives you some form of security to avoid all this kind of thing, like one chance kidnapping that happens in commercial vehicles, or taxis and the rest. So people are trying to keep themselves safe and the rest, only for you to making it so difficult with the way things are. Spare tire, you must force the person to go and cover 50, 60,000 to buy something you will never use. Most likely. For what? Okay, so I hope this video makes sense. And all right.